Why? Happy Tuesday. It's a glorious Tuesday. We're going to have to talk about this weak case from this week DA. This is Trump news. This is all about Trump because, something just happened today. There was no bombshell indictment. There was no bombshell charges. There's no bombshell new evidence. I don't know what new evidence because Fat Albert or Alvin Bragg is not saying. He's saying that he received new evidence that all the other DAs and prosecutors weren't privy to. Is the reason why he's bringing these charges, and not only is he bringing these charges, the next court date's not until December, January, right during primary season in 2024. But I'm going to actually go to News 8 on your side. This is WFLA.com. I watched their stream. I was pretty impressed with their stream on this. They were very non-biased. They tried to be an open mind. They gave both sides praises. But of course, New York AP, according to this, Donald Trump conspired to illegally influence the 2016 elections through a series of hush money payments designed to stifle claims that would be harmful to his candidacy, prosecutors said Tuesday, unsealing a historic 34-count felony indictment against the former president. It was pretty much the same one for every check that he wrote to his lawyer, Michael Cohen. That was an indictment. I think there's like one for a doorman that says he had a child out of wedlock. These payments, said the Assistant District Attorney Christopher Cohen, were a part of an unlawful plan to identify and suppress negative information that could undermine his campaign for president. Kind of like how Facebook, Google, Twitter suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop and the Ashley Biden diary right before the election, so 81 million people could vote for President Biden. I don't know if he instructed that, but this is to the similar lines, kind of like how Hillary Clinton had to pay a fine for the Steele dossier to discredit President Trump during the 2016 election, and also plagued his election, not his election, but his time in office with bogus claims that he was a Russian asset. These type of things, I mean, I guess it's only okay when Democrats do it. It's only a finable offense when Democrats do it. And when the Republicans do it and they're part of the uniparty, it's okay when they do it. But when an outsider comes in, you got to throw the book at them, right? You got to charge them, send them to prison, and all that good stuff. Charge them with felonies. Payment, sorry, I read that. Trump's stone face and silent as he entered and exited Manhattan courtroom, said not guilty in a firm voice while facing the judge who warned him to refrain from rhetoric that could inflame or cause civil unrest. I mean, that's kind of I know what they're going at, but all that Donald Trump could do is say, "Hi, I'm Donald Trump. It's April 4th. I am running for president." Someone's going to say that is inciting violence. That's whatever phobe, causing civil unrest from the left. So I don't know. I mean, it's been rather peaceful. The next court date is December 4th, though it's not clear if it would be required to appear. The board contours above the case have been known. The indictment contains new details about a scheme that the prosecutors said involved payoffs of two women, including a porn star who said that they had extramarital sexual encounters with them years earlier, as well to Trump Tower's doorman who claimed to have a story about a child he alleged the former president had out of wedlock. Now, this is 16 pages. It's very much copy and paste with the check number or whatever. The arraignment through largely procedure in nature, amounted as remarkable reckoning for Trump. After years of investigations into his personal, business, and political dealings, the case unfolded against the backdrop not only his third campaign for the White House, but also against other investigations in Washington and Atlanta that might yet produce even more charges. I mean, these charges could go away. I mean, all Trump has to do is drop out of the race, and these charges will mysteriously evaporate, which is my opinion. Trump used his lip, purse, and apparent anger. Trump used his lips, purse, and apparent anger entering the courtroom shortly before 2:30 p.m. That's kind of embellishing, but that's all right. And here I was giving him props. He left the court an hour later, also without commenting. All told, a typical verbose, Trump spoke about 10 words during the entire proceeding. Before the arraignment, he narrated his feelings in real time, describing his experience as surreal as he traveled from Trump Tower to Lower Manhattan to face a judge. The day scheduled with striking a blend of legal and political events represents the new split screen in reality for Trump as he submits to the dour of demands of the American criminal justice system while projecting an aura of defiance and victimhood at celebrity campaign events. Man, that's one heck of a sentence. Wearing his signature dark suit and red tie, Trump turned and waved to the crowd outside the building before heading inside to be fingerprinted and processed. He arrived at court in an 8-car motorcade from Trump Tower, communicating in real time his anger at the process. I mean, was he really communicating his anger? It wasn't really showing much. I think that's more speculation. Heading to the Lower Manhattan courthouse, he posted on his Truth Social, "Seems so surreal. While they're going to arrest me, I can't believe this is happening in America. Make America great, MAGA." Afterward, Trump lawyer Todd Blanche told reporters that this is a sad day for the country. You don't expect this to happen to somebody who was president of the United States. I mean, just because he was a former president of the United States, he's not above the law. The issue is there's no equal application of the law, in my humble opinion. I mean, if, let's say, Joe Biden loses his bid or he doesn't run for re-election, I do expect a state or the federal government to investigate him, and if there's a crime, charge him. But we're not going to see that happen because there's no equal application of the law here. Trump was impeached twice by the House, but was never convicted in the U.S. Senate. This is the first former president to face criminal charges. The nation's 45th commander-in-chief was escorted from Trump Tower to the courthouse by Secret Service. He's strong and ready to go, Trump lawyer Joe Tapolino told the Associated Press earlier. Tapio said in a TV interview that the former president wouldn't plead guilty to a lesser charge, and even if it might resolve the case, he said he didn't think that the case would make it to a jury. Well, guess what? It made it to a jury. How long is this? Not too much longer. Let's see here. New York police said that it was ready for a large protest by Trump supporters who shared Republican former president's belief that the New York grand jury indictment and 3 additional pending investigations are politically motivated and intended to weaken his bid to retake the White House in 2024. I share that sentiment. Journalists often outnumber protesters, though. I mean, there's quite a few people there. I mean, the issue with Trump supporters is that we have jobs. We can't take off months at a time to go burn down a city because we have responsibilities, and we take those responsibilities of raising, whether it's raising kids or just being a productive member of society. We have a job that we have to go to, mostly anywhere between 4 to 7 days a week. And we got to pay our bills, and we take pride in paying our bills. So we just can't take off work at a whim. opposed to the other side, which are just freeloaders who get paid by, well, I don't know if it's true or not, but allegations are paid by George Soros to attend these events to cause a ruckus, or they have very little responsibility and very little things that cost a lot of money. So their standard of living way lower, so they don't have to have a job to go out there and cause a ruckus. I mean, that's what Trump supporters are. Trump supporters are the working class of America. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are not employed. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some unemployed Trump supporters, but the majority of Trump supporters is the working class of America. Let's see here. Trump, a former reality TV star, has been hyping the narrative that his political advantage, saying that he's raised more than 8 million, I think it's up to 10 million now, in days since the indictment on claim of a witch hunt. His campaign released a fundraising request titled "My Last Email Before the Arrest," and has repeatedly assailed Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, egg on supporters to protest and claim without evidence that the judge presiding over the case hates me. Something his own lawyer said is not true. Oh, man. I mean, the judge may hate him, but this is just typical Trump behavior. Trump was scheduled to return to his Palm Beach, Florida, on home Mar-a-Lago on Tuesday evening. Given the remarks, at least 500 prominent supporters have been invited, some with the most pro-Trump congressional Republicans expected to attend. A conviction would not prevent Trump from running or winning the presidency in 2024. The investigation scrutinized the six-figure payments made to a porn star Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen Dougal. Both says that they had sexual encounters with the married Trump years before he got into politics. Trump denies having sexual liaisons with either either women, and has denied any wrongdoing involving payments. The arraignment unfolded against the backdrop of heavy security of New York, coming more than 2 years after Trump supporters stormed U.S. Capitol. You know, you had a whole bunch of transgender rights people, LGBT communities, stormed the Tennessee Capitol multiple times. I think one and also in Oklahoma. But that wasn't an insurrection. I mean, it's pretty much par for the course. But only if Trump supporters do it, then it's the worst thing since the Civil War, worst thing since 9/11. It's actually worse than 9/11 when Trump supporters storm Congress, ignoring the fact that there was a bombing that happened there a couple decades ago. I mean, yeah, our Capitol has been bombed from protesters in Redonda, I think it's Redonda, several decades ago. Let's see here. Trump was defiant ahead of his arraignment. He used his social media network, Truth Social, to complain that he was going to court in a heavily Democratic area, declaring kangaroo court, and this is not what America was supposed to be. He and his campaign has repeatedly assailed at Bragg and even trained scrutiny members of Bragg's family because, you know, they've been on the record, his wife asking the, I think, New York district attorney to sue the pants off of Trump. He campaigned that he's going to take on Trump, and that's going into fruition now. Despite that, scenes around Trump Tower and the courthouse where Trump will be stand before the judge did not feature major unrest. Despite that, scenes around Trump Tower and the courthouse where Trump will stand before the judge did not feature any major unrest. Police tried to keep apart protesters supporting the former president and those opposing him by confining them in separate sides of the park near the courthouse using metal barricades. Yeah, it was rather tame. I mean, there were some scuffles, but it was really mostly peaceful. It's not the meme mostly peaceful theory, but mostly peaceful. And you have the newscaster with the building on fire. It wasn't that. I mean, I did see a couple of things, but nothing too outrageous. And the thing is, it must also know that Donald Trump's supporters are the working class. They can't take off work at a whim to go to these places. Georgia Republican Mary Taylor Greene, one of Trump's staunchest supporters in Congress, staged a brief rally at the park, but the scene was so chaotic it was hard to hear her over the crush of reporters and protesters. "We're the party of peace," Greene said, thanking those that Trump supporters presented. "Democrats are communists." I mean, I don't know if they're communists, but they're definitely socialists. And some Republicans are also socialists. They want government control. Anytime you have government control, that is a form of socialism in its simplest form. In battle, Republican New York George Santos also showed up with solidarity with Trump, saying, "I want to support the president." I mean, we won't talk about George Santos. I think George Santos should resign for the same reason Joe Biden should resign. They're both liars. I think it's unprecedented and is a bad day for democracy, Santos said, suggesting that the future prosecutor could target Biden and any presence with other cases, which cheapens the judicial system. I mean, if they committed a crime, most definitely prosecute. New York's ability to carry out a safe and drama-free courthouse proceedings in a case involving a polarizing ex-president could be an important test case as prosecutors in Atlanta and Atlanta and Washington conduct their own investigation of Trump that could also result in charges. Those investigations concerns the efforts to undo the 2020 election results, which is my understanding is that regardless of who's running, the loser gets to challenge the results. The winners, if they see an area where they think that they lost an area but they really won, has the ability to challenge those results. And that's what Trump did when it comes to the 2020 elections. As well as possible mishandling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, which were locked behind a locked door in a heavily secured room behind a heavily secured compound. President Biden just has them willy-nilly all over the place, not secured, in a garage next to his Corvette, and a library that had Chinese access, and some other place, and some other place. Then, of course, you have Vice President Pence that came up to the record after Biden's classified documents that were found back when he was a senator. But Pence says, as he was vice president, he actually had a couple of documents himself. Let's hear Tucker and Weissert reporter from Washington, Associated Press journalists Jill Coughlin, Bobby, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it was a bunch of people making this report possible. So basically, it was 34 counts. 34 counts were payments to Michael Cohen to conceal the fact that those were trying to hide crimes, which he didn't really list which crimes that they were other than campaign contributions that were over the limit, and that was one of the crimes. A reporter asked him what crime did he commit that he was covering up. It was not listed in an indictment. Alvin Bragg said, according to New York statute, I don't have to list the crime on the indictment, and that he's been doing this for 26 years. When you have to say that you've been doing this for 26 years, it's kind of a sign that you're a weak person and you're trying to appeal to authority, or your authority that you know what you're doing. It's a false economy. Now, other people could say that you've been doing this for 26 or 27 years and that we should respect you on that. But when you say that you've been doing this for 27 years, it weakens your credentials, in my opinion. But I do think this is a weak case. It really relies on, did the payments to Michael Cohen consist of income that he was putting on the payroll, or was this money paying him back for the money that he personally gave out? With that being said, that is my video. Leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day. morning or evening.